The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions of WBGR Network. Any questions or concerns about what is said should be directed to the show host, whose information will be provided upon request.
Sports is what we do. It's the fast track at peak speed, moving across the ice, blockers, hitters, B-team, beatdowns, and knockouts, doubleheaders, playoffs, touchdowns, smackdowns, on the mat or on the track. The spirit of a champion. The triple-double. Make that double front flip. This is what we do.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is your boy Shane Hector from the No BS, No Holds Barred Sports Talk Show. I'm just here to let you guys know this is the 100th episode of the No BS, No Holds Barred Sports Talk Show. So I want to thank everybody who has always supported me since day one and watching this show on these early mornings. I definitely appreciate you guys, and I want people to understand something. It's real, it's raw, and I want people to get ready on their seat, because I'm about to unveil something that has never been done before, and I know for a fact that ain't nobody's ever done what I'm doing today, going to be doing today. So the number to call is going to be 301-429-9247. That's going to be the number to call on this very early morning. Then also, I want people to understand something. This is going to be straight, no commercial. No commercial this morning. I might have a swig of this water here too, but for the most part, we're just going to straight get through it, and I'm going to break down. It's going to be a nice little breakdown of a lot of different things. So, let's go right in. So let's go to that next slide. So I'm going to show you what we're going to talk about this morning. There I go, right there. Nice of y'all to see that. But there's the number to call, 301-429-9247. Now, this right here, I want everybody to understand what this is. My new analysis system is called the Threat Level Assessment for the 2019-2020 season of the NFL. I'm going to break it down in 5 different categories and how each team is rated. So me and my team decided to come up with a system where it starts with severe, high, elevated, guarded, and low. So what that means is like if anybody who works in Homeland Security, power to the people at DHS, these are different threat levels that the U.S. government kind of uses, and so what we did was we kind of put a little spin to it. So the spin is if you're at low risk, that means that 9 times out of 10. Your team is probably going to take this loss, okay? That means that you're not likely to win this game. General risk, or guarded just usually means that, you're somewhat of a risk, but you're still not good enough. Elevated means that's a 50-50 situation, so you know for a fact that like maybe this team has enough talent to win, and then there's also enough talent to lose as well. High risk means that 9 times out of 10, or I would say 7 to 8 times out of 10, that you're probably going to lose to this football team. And then severe as a risk means that your team is an elite team, and 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to get that L today. And it's based on a point system that we constructed. So severe is 5 points, 4 points, 3, 2, and 1. So that's how that's breaking down. And that's how I was able to break down every single team based on coaching, offense, defense, and special teams, okay? And that's how each team is rated based on that, and everybody will see how I came up with each one, and I took a lot of time in doing this. I want people to understand like how this works. So, let's jump into it, right? First one. Okay, so like I said, offense, defense, special teams, and coaching, and that's how I get the overall score. Okay, and that's how that works. So, ladies and gentlemen, next one. Oh boy, we're gonna break down the AFC, NFC, AFC East, West, North, and South. Same thing with the NFC, West, North, and South. So everybody's gonna see how all this works. All right. So first thing we're gonna talk about now, as you see right there. Again, the threat level advisory system, TLA. So I want people to understand that this is where it's gonna get interesting and fun. We're gonna talk about the AFC East, the Patriots, the Dolphins, the Jets, and the Bills. All right. So, first team. Now, everybody's going to get some feathers ruffled this morning. Now, I don't want y'all to jump down my throat. All right? First thing we're going to talk about is, let's go to that next one. The New England Patriots. Now, obviously, there's a reason why their threat level is severe, because obviously we see where we are in this season. 6-0. Best coach in the league, Bill Belichick. Best quarterback in the league, Tom Brady. Okay, then you look at the offensive pieces they got. They have this great offensive line. They've got Sonny Michel, Julian Edelman, Josh Gordon, and then Jacoby Myers, a rookie, Gunnar Olszewski. They got a bunch of different guys that they can use, as they're about to use, and N'Keal Harry is supposed to be coming back this week after spending 6 weeks on IR. So this is going to be fun and interesting, right? So let's get back to it. And so with that being said, threat level for them is severe, because that means that 9 times out of 10, your team is probably going to lose. You're probably going to lose. If you see New England on your schedule this year, you're probably going to lose. It's probably 9 times out of 10, unless it's another team that's on the same threat level as the New England Patriots, or at threat level high. Okay? So with that being said, and then let's also look at the facts. The facts are the New England Patriots are number one in 6 statistical categories for the defense, because the defense right now is playing at a high level. You got Stephon Gilmore making interceptions. You've got Devin McCourty, who leads the team in interceptions. His brother Jason McCourty has an interception on the season. J.C. Jackson's got 2. Okay, so the DBs for New England are strapping. They on strap duty. That's just what it comes down to. So with that being said, that's how that goes. Let's move on to the next team. The next team we're going to talk about, this is where it gets fun and interesting. Let's see here. Let's go on to the next team. And there you go. Those are the overall scores. Severe. So overall, it's severe for New England. So the next team we're going to talk about is the Miami Dolphins. Now, I put them at guarded because it's not like they didn't have enough talent at the time. You know, they did. But the only thing is, the last game they came very close, but instead of going for the 1-point conversion and trying to send it into overtime to beat the Washington Redskins, Brian Flores does the dumb thing and try to go for the 2. No. Bad idea. Bad idea. That was a bad idea. Should have went for the 2. Should have went for the 1. Send it into overtime. Give yourself a chance to win a football game. So the Dolphins clearly have enough talent, but 9 times out of 10, but 8 times out of 10, they're probably not going to win that game. So Brian Flores got a lot to do with it, because Josh Rosen is clearly not the guy for them, and Ryan Fitzpatrick, well, we don't know what he's going to do. They lost a lot of the defensive players, and on top of that, Xavier Howard is their best player on the defensive side of the ball. So with that being said, and then Kenyon Drake, well, he's not really a starting running back. And then you got rid of Kenny Stills. You sent him over to the New Orleans Saints. And then not to mention, your only receiver you got is Devontae Parker, your first-round pick from a couple of years ago. So with that being said, I'm not worried about the Miami Dolphins if I'm in the AFC East. So it is what it is. Now I'm going to show you the point system, and then you're going to see about the coaches. So let's go over to that next slide. So I want people to pay attention to this. So right here, as you can see, coaching is guarded. And the reason why I had to put coaching is guarded because of the mere fact that the Brian Flores, New England Patriots as a defensive coordinator, right? And you saw what he did in the Super Bowl for New England. They were able to stifle stifle and stuff the LA Rams in that Super Bowl, and they wasn't able to do anything. Now, Todd Gurley did have a few runs, but Anderson was the reason why they was able to keep themselves somewhat in that Super Bowl, and they ended up losing that Super Bowl 13-3. But at the end of the day, Brian Flores came up with the perfect game plan, along with Bill Belichick, in order to beat the LA Rams in the Super Bowl. So that's why I had to go with that. Offense is clearly low because there's really nobody on offense outside of Devontae Parker. They have no quarterback. They have no running back. They have no tight ends. They basically have almost nothing. They got rid of their best tackle, Laramie Tunsil, and sent him to the Houston Texans. So there's that. So there's no reason for me to even think for a second that the Miami Dolphins are somewhat of a threat. Now, defense, I had to put guarded because they're not bad, but they're not great either. Like, mainly because Brian Flores is a nice, not so bad defensive genius. It's just that the first 2 games, that first 3 games was just bad. This is what it is. Like, there was no way he was going to beat the Cowboys. There's no way he's going to beat the Patriots. And he was no way he was going to beat the Ravens after that performance. I mean, it's what it is. And it's now elevated for special teams. The reason why I had to put elevated for special teams is because of the fact that we've seen what the Miami Dolphins have done before. The Miami Dolphins, especially in the Miami Miracle last year, you saw what happened. I mean, they still got the same special teams guys, and their kicker is not bad. He only missed like 2 kicks this year. So therefore, the Miami Dolphins had to have that. So overall, I had to put guarded based on the point system that we created here. So let's move on to the next team. The New York Jets. Gotta put the New York Jets as low, and it was only because, the New York Jets, outside of Sam Darnold, who did the Jets really have? And please don't tell me Jamal Adams, because Jamal Adams, he gets flagged like every other play for either unnecessary roughness or pass interference or illegal contact. And unfortunately, in that last game they played, didn't look so hot. But Sam Darnold, once again, was the reason why they won that game. Because outside of Sam Darnold, the Jets are literally nothing without Sam Darnold. And it's sad, but it is what it is. Those are the facts. I mean, Sam Darnold was all most of their games this year due to the fact that he caught mono. It is what it is. He had mononucleosis, and unfortunately, he had no choice but to stay out a couple of games due to the fact that he had a disease. So it is what it is. So with that being said, the New York Jets are going to be low. Because again, not that great of a football team. Let's move on to that next slide so you can see the point system for that. So the point system for that, you got coaching, guarded, offense is guarded, low. For the defense, special teams is low, so therefore overall the team is low. The reason why I put guarded is because I got to give respect to Sam Darnold, the fact they got Le'Veon Bell, and then they got Anderson. Robbie Anderson is a very good wide receiver. I like the way the kid plays. Honestly, Sam Darnold needs to feed him the ball a little bit more, and I guarantee you he'll probably get a 1,000-yard season, and they can get some touchdowns out of him too. So, and then Le'Veon Bell, they can split him out wide, do a bunch of different packages with him. They can use him out of the I formation and put him in shotgun as a back right next to the quarterback. There's many different things that they can do in order to maximize the effectiveness of their offense. The problem is Adam Gase. Now, I put guarded because I've seen what Adam Gase does, especially since he was the head coach of the Dolphins, but he was also the offensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos when they went to the Super Bowl all those years. Especially in 2013. Obviously, they got their butts whipped by Seattle 43-8 in that Super Bowl, but that was a record-breaking year for the Denver Broncos. So therefore, that's why I could see why Adam Gase was up there. And then let's also look at the other facts. The other facts is in 2015, he did what he could to make that team better. And then next thing you know, they end up winning a Super Bowl, even though it was one on the defense side of the ball, but you at least had an opportunity. So, there's that. And then special teams has got to be low because they haven't had not one kick return or punt return touchdown this year. Or, in their kicker, their kicker misses a lot. Has missed some kicks. I think he has at least 6 missed kicks this year, so it is what it is. So, we're going to move ahead and move past the New York Jets because nobody cares about the New York Jets. The Buffalo Bills. Now, at the time when I did this, I had to put low because okay, because the Buffalo Bills, their offense to me is just not that great. And their defense, though, even though they're ranked number 3 in the NFL, the Bills to me are just not, they haven't played anybody. And I foresee this happening, and everybody's going to call me crazy. I won't be surprised, even though they're 5-1 right now, they end up finishing the season 7-9. I won't be surprised. And the reason why I'm saying this, because let's go ahead and look at the point system for that. So the point system is going to tell you, let's move on to that next one. So right here, coaching low, offense is low, defense is low. I put everything low, and I'm going to explain why. Nobody would have expected the Bills to be this good, and they really just don't have any talent that jumps out at me and says, this is a really good football team. No, the teams they're playing are just not that good. That's just what it is. The only team that they could say that was a good team that they lost to, because obviously that was the one L they got all season, was New England, and they gave New England some problems, even though New England still won that game because of their defense, because obviously the New England defense was much better. But nobody knows who their coach is, and let's be honest, nobody cares about their offense because Shady McCoy ain't there. They ain't got no offense. Josh Allen, I think, is a bum. He's still a bum. But nonetheless, they got 5 wins and they got 1 loss. But don't worry, they'll find a way to lose games like they always do. So, there's that. So, that's it for the entire AFC East. Now we're going to move on. Let's go on to that next one. I want you guys to hit that share button. Make sure you share with your friends. Everybody. We're going on to the AFC West because I'm a little crunch for time. So, we're going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs and all that. So, let's start with the Chiefs. Let's go on to that next one. Obviously, threat level severe, and I have to explain, and there's no rhyme or reason to explain why. Yes, I get it. Patrick Mahomes is hurt, but he will come back. And Chiefs owner Clark Hunt just announced there's probably going to be a highly probable chance he might sign Colin Kaepernick. Now, if he pulls the trigger on this, I'm not going to lie. That might be a very good look for the Chiefs because of the fact that what Kaepernick can do. But, again, I got to actually see it first. Because Patrick Mahomes is probably going to be out for a significant amount of time. Now, for those of you who don't exactly like Colin Kaepernick and his stance, well, newsflash, I don't think the Chiefs really care because all they want to care about is winning football games. Although he sued the NFL, and I say this all the time, don't get it twisted. I think I think people gotta understand something. It's not that deep, y'all. It's about to get real. It's about to get interesting. And the other thing is like I said, what I want people to understand is this, is you got a guy that honestly right now is poised to take this team over and do some special things. Now, let's go on to the point system for that, okay? So, the Kansas City Chiefs, look at their offense, defense, special teams, and their coaching. So, that very next one, we're going to see the point system for that. So, right now, they're at threat level severe. Now, I put everything at severe for this team with the exception of the defense because the defense can make plays. They're ranked right now 24 in the NFL, but Steve Spagnuolo, the reason why I have to put them there. Steve Spagnuolo, if anybody knows who he is, he was the guy who coached the New York Giants during the first Super Bowl when they beat the New England Patriots back in 2007 when they were undefeated. Okay? So, have to put him there because with that defensive coordinator, he's gonna maximize the amount of talent that he has and try to do what he can to make sure that this team is in the best position to beat New England when they have to see New England in a few weeks. But with Patrick Mahomes being hurt, this is gonna hurt their offense a little bit. Coaching is severe because of the fact that, like I said, you got Andy Reid as head coach, Steve Spagnuolo as defensive coordinator. Now, Andy Reid is going to be running the offense most of the time, but they do have an offensive coordinator, so it's going to be a very interesting team to watch. And so, with that being said, you look at their special teams. They have a couple of couple of punt return touchdowns this year. Not to mention they have a really good kicker, and their punter Colquitt. Oh my gosh, that nasty special teams play is on the Kansas City Chiefs. So overall, this team is threat level severe because there's 9 times out of 10 you're probably going to lose to this tip football team. This team is really good. We've been watching them all year, and they've been very, very amazing. The only thing is like I said, with Patrick Mahomes being hurt, we're going to see what happens in the future. So moving forward, let's move on. So now we're going to look at the Denver Broncos. I'm sorry, nobody cares about the Denver Broncos because y'all just saw what happened on this past Thursday night. I mean, they lost 30-6. There's really nothing to talk about with this team. I mean, it was god-awful. It was disrespectful that this team was even on the field. So let's go ahead and look at the point system for this team. So with that being said, so they're at threat level low. Now we're going to look at their offense, defense, coaching, special teams. So that's what we're going to look at next. So right here on the next one, coaching is low, offense is low, but as a defense, I got to put guarded because of the fact that I got to give my respect to my man as a Von Miller. As I always say this to people, this is why Jamie Collins got sent out of town. Anybody else want Von Miller money? Come to Denver. So Denver is a Von Miller. They also got Noah Fant. They also had they lost a couple of guys on defense, not to mention Chris Harris is their best corner right now. That's all they got. Special teams is low. And overall the whole team is low. The offense, the reason why I got to put them as low, because I'm sorry, nobody cares about Joe Flacco anymore. Joe Flacco's a bum. And Emmanuel Sanders is stuck with a team where he has no quarterback. Everybody that he played with is gone. I mean, it's just sad that what he has to deal with because now Demaryius Thomas ain't there. Peyton Manning is gone. I mean, the good thing is at least he could say he's got a Super Bowl ring. But it's just sad that, now at this point, for Emmanuel Sanders, you got to figure out what is next for me. Am I going to stay in Denver or am I going to move on? So it is what it is. This is what the Broncos have been dealing with, and this is why they have the record that they have this year. And this team right now is ranked 21 in the NFL, so it is what it is. I mean, there's nothing anybody can do about it. So let's move on to the next team in the AFC West. The Oakland Raiders. The reason why I have to put them as low because I'm sorry, nobody cares about Derek Carr. Yeah, he threw for 1,000 yards, but he only threw 19 touchdowns and 10 picks last year. I'm sorry, those numbers don't even impress me. They don't even impress me even the least bit. So let's go ahead and look at the point system and what I rated them as far as coaching, special teams, and things like that. So, low risk. And so, we're going to talk about their coaching. Offense, special teams, defense, and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and go to that next slide. So, with that being said, let's see here. So there we go, right there. So coaching is elevated, offense is low, defense is low, special teams is low, overall the whole team is low. The reason why I had to put the coaching at elevated because John Gruden is their head coach, so I got to give him props for some of the things he's done with this football team and what he's been trying to do. Now everybody could say that everybody could say that he traded away Khalil Mack. That's fine. He could trade away Khalil Mack. But here's the situation. Are you really trying to tell me that Khalil Mack was the real difference maker? Because I can tell you right now, last year that was cute, but look at what happened this year. This year, not only the Raiders beat him, but the Chicago Bears, I don't know who that team is this year. I really don't. If anybody could tell me who they are, I would be happy to debate with you this morning. I really would be, okay? Because it just doesn't make sense to me how this football team is they're just not performing, okay? And it's just utterly ridiculous, honestly. It's just really utterly ridiculous how, this football team is, shout out to my man Marcus Morrell. Thank you for tuning in, sir. So, it just makes no sense to me how this team is just not that great at what they're doing, and it is what it is. What can you do? I mean, I'm just the guy just is analyzing the Oakland Raiders and what they're doing. But like I said, bunch of bums. So that's so now we're gonna move on there because there's really nothing to talk about with the Oakland Raiders except they're just not that great. Chargers. I gotta go with threat level high. I'm gonna explain why. Let's go on to that next one because I'm gonna break this down. I want people to understand why I put the Chargers here. Coaching is high because Anthony Lynn and what he did last year with that Chargers football team was very good. He got them to a playoff spot. It's just that unfortunately, it's kind of hard when you got Kansas City Chiefs as, the other team. Then you've got the defense, the offense is high, but right now it's not looking too good because offensively they're struggling, especially since Phillip Rivers is not able to throw the football. Doesn't throw the football the way he's supposed to be throwing the football. Now on top of that, Keenan Allen, there's a very likely chance because New England's been trying to field a whole bunch of different receivers out here. There's a likely chance that either Keenan Allen or somebody from another team might end up in New England, and then Melvin Gordon, he hasn't done anything. Austin Eckler, I think, is their best shot right now at running the football, and they can do the things that they do. Now, also, Mike Williams, he has got to show up. Like, boy, you from Clemson. There's no reason why you don't have glue on your hands. There's no reason why, and it is what it is. So, with that being said, that's why I had to put the offenses high, but I do believe they can be better. Now, the defense, on the other hand, even though they were decimated with injuries, I'm definitely going to go with threat level severe, and I'm going to explain why. Because that with Joey Bosa, Melvin Ingram, they added in a defensive tackle out of the draft, right? Then you add in the fact that Derwin James is going to be coming back in a couple of weeks. They get him back, they'll be looking good. And then Casey Hayward, I mean, they've got corners. They got corners for days. And honestly, there's no reason why this team should not be on strat duty. So whoever's the defensive back for the LA Chargers is going to be on strap duty. So pretty much like have fun trying to throw on this team. Now running on them, you can run on them all day because they ain't got no linebackers. Their linebackers ain't good. I'll be the first to tell you that. Like their linebackers is god awful. They need to find in this upcoming draft. There's going to be no excuse as to the reason why they should not pick up a run stuffing linebacker. No excuse. So. Their special teams is guarded because, let's be real, they missed a couple of kicks this year. And they haven't really been having any return touchdowns. So overall, the team is high. So that's where I'm going with that. That is it for the AFC West. Since I already broke down all the AFC West, let's move on. Next one is the AFC North. Now, I'm going to have fun breaking down this one, right? So let's go ahead and talk about these guys. The Baltimore Ravens, severe, and everybody knows why. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Let's get to it. Okay? That level severe is it for the Baltimore Ravens? Mainly because what we're going to discuss here. Whew. I just saw this ranking the other day for the Baltimore Ravens defense, and it's still kind of crazy to me how they're even up there. But let's get into it. Right? So, severe. High for special teams. Overall, the team is severe. Now, coaching. Obviously, John Harbaugh won a Super Bowl, right? Used to be the special teams coach under Andy Reid. A lot of Andy Reid coaches, for some strange reason, these guys get jobs. Same thing with Bill Belichick coach guys. They go get jobs. Look at Matt Patricia. Look at Brian Flores. Josh McDaniels before he decided he wanted to come back home, though. But anyways, getting back to Andy Reid. Look at this. All right, offense. Hollywood Brown. Mark Ingram, okay, Hurst, tight end, okay, Andrews. Then you add in the fact that Lamar Jackson's playing at a very high level. He's up there with some of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL as far as touchdown passes and interception ratio, okay. Then you add in the fact that the boy has a couple of rushing touchdowns with his legs. I mean, that's just what it is, folks. I mean, I can't get past that. That's just what it comes down to. So, but that being said, Baltimore is going to be the team to watch because I've been saying this all year long, and everybody's going to think I'm crazy for saying this. If it comes down to New England and Baltimore, Although I think New England can still beat Baltimore, but Baltimore is still the team that you're going to have to watch for that could possibly stop the New England Patriots. Because the Browns, I'm sorry, they're trash. Throw those guys in the dumpster. I don't care that Baker Mayfield could run his mouth all he wants and say that everybody wants to throw him in the trash. Well, we're throwing you in the trash because you are trash. That's what you do with trash. You throw it in the trash. That's just what you're supposed to do. So, therefore, the only team in this division that if I'm New England and I have to worry about because they have to face most of the AFC North all year is Baltimore Ravens. And that game is a Sunday night game that's in three weeks, okay? Because this week they're going to see the Jets, then they're going to see the Browns, and then after they see the Browns, they're going to go see Baltimore in Baltimore, okay? That's going to be the game to watch. So if anybody's in the DMV, get your tickets for that game because that game is going to be a game to see. And it's a Sunday night game. It's going to be cold. And granted, they're both cold weather teams. But I can tell you right now, that's going to be a battle. That's going to be a good game to watch. So everybody get on your seat for that one. So with that being said, defense for the Baltimore Ravens, little do people know, is ranked 5 in the NFL. But you would know that. But they're ranked 5 in the NFL. And I said to people mainly because they're pass rush. Matthew Judon is playing at a very high level. Now, they're going to get a couple guys there because Jimmy Smith's supposed to be coming back. I don't know. Is it Tavon Young? I mean, it is what it is. Marlon Humphrey has finally come along. But this is why where the Ravens screwed up. They should have traded for Jalen Ramsey and not let him find his way to the LA Rams. They shouldn't have let that happen. But you know what? The Jaguars wasn't trying to give it up, which I understand for the Jags because I'm not going to trade him to an AFC rival. And then next thing you know, like, the Ravens find a way to go to the Super Bowl. So I get it. For me personally, I wouldn't allow that to happen. But hey, that's none of my business. All right, so let's go on to the next team. Of course, we're going to talk about the Bengals because Bengals is bums. Bengals is bums. Let's go ahead and look at it. I'm just gonna break this down, I guess, because I ain't got a choice because the Bengals are such bums. So they're at low risk. Now I'm gonna show you their coaching, offense, defense, special teams. So let's go ahead and look at that real quick. It is what it is. Low for everything. Low. There's nothing to talk about. You got Andy Dalton, who's a bum. You got Joe Mixon, who you haven't even been feeding him the ball. I don't know why they don't feed him the ball. I don't understand this. I've really been trying to not be mind boggled by it, but who am I? I'm just a guy that's just analyzing the situation, right? Then let's talk about the defense. I don't care how good the D line is. You ain't got no linebackers. You ain't got no corners. You ain't got no safeties. Please do not tell me that Dre Kirkpatrick is one of the best corners in the league. Because if anybody who says that to me, I'm going to tell you to go find the nearest dumpster and put yourself in it. Because clearly I don't know what eye test you're looking at, but I can tell you the eye test I'm looking at. The eye test is telling me this team is just god awful. And we're not even going to talk about special teams because them guys is awful. This team is just terrible. Let's just throw them in the dumpster. It's just that simple. All right, let's move on to the next one. Let's talk about how about them Steelers. At the time when I did this, I did put it in a threat level high. Of course, I would drop it down by now because obviously Ben Roethlisberger's gone. And let's be real, Juju Smith-Schuster's not going to be able to do anything, so it is what it is. And they don't have no Le'Veon Bell, no Antonio Brown. It is what it is. But now that Big Ben's gone, it is what it is. So let's move on. Let's go to the next one. I'm going to show why. I thought, now at the time, I put the coaching in severe because Mike Thomas got into a lot of playoff games, got them to a Super Bowl, won. Then on top of that, what makes it even more interesting is the fact that, I thought with Juju they was going to be able to do some things. Obviously not. And then at the time, the defense is still high though. Let's not get it twisted. T.J. Watt is a very good player. Casey Hayward, Stephon Tuitt. That front seven looks good. And plus with their rookie Devin Bush has been playing lights out. They still ain't got no corners though because Joe Hayden is old. I love my man JoJo. I really do. JoJo is from Maryland, okay? A lot of people don't know that about Joe Hayden. Joe Hayden is from Maryland, and he played at Friendly High School, which is actually not that far from my house in Upper Marlboro. So, there's that. So, with that being said, Joe had some, Joe's going to have to figure out what he's going to do with his life because he up there now. He's the same age as me. He's 31 years old. You're not that young spring chicken anymore, so he's going to have to play a little bit smarter than usual, right? So, it is what it is. Now, special teams is low because, like I said, no return touchdowns, and plus on top of that, kicking-wise, they have some issues. And then on top of that, the overall team is high, so that's where I had to go with that. But now, this is going to change as of next week because the TLA will be coming back to you guys. The threat level assessment. So, let's go on to that next one. Let's talk about the Browns. I had to put them as guarded, and I'm going to explain why, because obviously they're 3-3. Let's go ahead and look at the Browns. I'm going to explain why. Offensively, you got to put severe because Baker, Odell, Jarvis, David Njoku, and Nick Chubb, and then in about, I think, 2 weeks, because they had to sit out 8 games, they're about to get Kareem Hunt. This is a team you gotta watch. I mean, now, this is what it is. Now, coaching is low, because let's be real, Freddie Kitchens, he has no business coaching this football team. He has no business coaching this football team. No business. I don't even know why this dude, I don't even know why he became head coach. I mean, now, the Browns could try to sell you on Freddie Kitchens being their head coach, but let's just be honest about it for a second. Freddie Kitchens is just not that good of a head coach. Not when this team's got all that talent. And here's the thing: the offense for the Cleveland Browns is ranked 18, 19 out of the NFL. And the defense, well, they're not that much better. And the defense right now, they lost a lot of guys. Jamie Collins is not there, and you see what he's doing in New England. He's balling as a lights out, right? Then you got in the fact that Denzel Ward is hurt. Greedy Williams, he been in and out of games. I don't even know he's still on the squad. And then we're not even gonna look at their safeties because their safeties are just not good. Because Demarius Randall, this was a guy who was a cornerback, now converted to safety because he can't cover. And it mind boggles me how you move them. Now I'm like, and I think what it is everybody sees what New England did with Devin McCourty. I'm like, that only works for certain guys. See, when Belichick drafts a player, right? He drafts guys who are hybrid guys. So that's the reason why Devin McCourty was able to go from playing as a left corner to playing free safety. That's why he's able to do that, because of the fact that he can play both positions. But he's just been better at safety because he's just a better cover guy, and he makes big hits. And he doesn't allow a lot of things to happen. So that's the reason why we got that going down. Now, let's look at special teams. Special teams, nobody cares. Overall, the team is guarded. This team is arguably one of the most talented teams in the NFL, but also one of the most overrated teams in the NFL because of the fact that there's just no reason why these guys should not be performing. They have some flashes. They definitely have some flashes, but what's going to happen is when they have to play New England, this team, this offense with this threat level is going to have to show, okay? It's going to have to show that they can play up. They're going to have to show that they can play up because, there's no reason. Let's break down what the Browns are going to have to do, right? They're going to have to see a lot of, they saw most of the teams in their division, they'll beat them. Because I'm sorry, the teams in their division are sorry with the exception of Baltimore. They beat Baltimore. Okay? But the thing about them beating Baltimore, that was one game. And on top of that, they just happened to catch the Ravens sleeping in that game. Now this time, the second time they see Baltimore, I don't think they're going to catch the Ravens sleeping. I just don't think that's going to happen. So, because Lamar Jackson was on a mission. They even tried to make a comeback that game. It just didn't work out. Now, the other thing is, and let's just be honest, thank you, Brett Rose, for joining the session. Thank you for watching the show, sir. So, getting back to the Cleveland Browns. So, the issue when they played Baltimore is that the Baltimore Ravens at that time did not have any corners. All of their corners were hurt, with the exception of Marlon Humphrey. I'm sorry, I'm not expecting Marlon Humphrey to cover Odell every single play. I'm not covering him asking him to cover Jarvis Landry every single play. And obviously those guys went off because you saw with Jarvis Landry, they 8 catches under 67 yards. It is what it is. Nobody can stop that. It's just utterly ridiculous. So with that being said, the Cleveland Browns have a lot of good pieces to work with. They got a lot of good pieces. Their offense can, most certainly put points on that board. But that defense is just too suspect for me. I don't like the fact that you got 2 talented corners. One of them being a rookie. You got him out of the second round out of Louisiana State University, the Tigers. Now everybody knows LSU. That's DBU, so they always graduate great corners. They always do. I mean, we've seen it throughout the years. Look at Patrick Peterson. Morris Claiborne never showed up. I don't know where he was at. And then I'll even go back to the days of the Giants when they had my man Corey Webster. We can even go back that far. Okay, so they've always graduated great corners. And then look at Ryan Clark. Everybody who's a Redskins fan knows Ryan Clark. And anybody who's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan knows Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark was one of the best DBs to come out of LSU. So, with that being said, there's no reason why, there's no reason why, these teams should not be talented. Mr. Morrell, I see your comment. Texas DBU, just not this year. Look, we're not going to talk about the Longhorns because we've talked about this already. We're not going to talk about your Longhorns, sir. But we talked about this already. But, getting back to what I was saying. The Cleveland Browns have opportunities, and then it is what it is. Now, we're going to go on to the AFC South. So let's move on to that next one. I'm going to break down the entire AFC South, and this is where Mr. Morrell is probably going to be even happy because I'm going to talk about his Houston Texans. So we're going to get to that. Let's talk about the Tennessee Titans first, though. So Tennessee Titans, I had to put them as low because it's very obvious right now. You see their record. They're not even remotely good this year, and especially since Mike Vrabel, I don't know what's going on, but coaching-wise, there's something missing. So let's go ahead and look at the breakdown for that. So right now, the Titans, they're on a threat level low because I'm not worried about the Tennessee Titans. First off, the issue with the Tennessee Titans is you got Derrick Henry, and I don't understand this about Derrick Henry. You got to feed him the ball. Let's look at the breakdown of the Tennessee Titans. So, right now I have to put the offense low because let's be real, Marcus Mariota's a bum, and then they just benched him for Ryan Tannehill. Now, I want everybody to remember who Ryan Tannehill is. Ryan Tannehill used to be as a quarterback for the Miami Dolphins before they shipped him out of there. All right? So, the issue that I see with this whole situation, now we can see the writing on the wall of this, they're probably going to have to draft the quarterback in this upcoming NFL draft because let's just be honest about it. This dude is a bum. Nobody cares about Ryan Tannehill. He hasn't been nice since Texas A&M. And even when he was at Texas A&M, nobody cared about him because Texas A&M only converted him to quarterback because they had nobody else. He was a bum. But for some odd reason, the Dolphins drafted him in the first round. It is what it is. I don't make the selections. I'm just the guy analyzing the situation. But hey, who am I? So, then let's look at the defense. Defense is not even remotely good as it should be. This team is ranked 23 in the NFL. But the only reason why that is because Jurrell Casey, one of the best defensive tackles in football right now. Obviously, the better defensive tackles in football than him is obviously Aaron Donald and those guys. And Gerald McCoy, he fell lost. I don't know where he's been at. But it is what it is. But we've seen what Ndamukong Suh's been doing over there in Tampa Bay. So I have to give some props to that. So with that being said, is one of the better interior linemen. Definitely Jurrell Casey is the reason why his defense is ranked as guarded. And then on top of that, let's look at the 2 corners. There's 3 corners actually. You got my man Malcolm Butler. Malcolm Butler's been playing well. He's got a couple of picks this year finally because I was wondering where he was going to show up. And then Adoree Jackson. Adoree Jackson is not bad. I think he's a really good corner, but I think the problem is he peeks in the backfield too much, and in the NFL, you cannot do that. Because if you peek in the backfield, quarterbacks are just going to throw over your head every time. You stop peeking in there. And then let's also look at Logan Ryan. Logan Ryan, we saw what he did with New England. He was a very good corner for New England for quite some time. And then let's also couple with the fact that this young man, he leads the team in turnovers. And the thing is, he always gets good turnovers. The problem with Logan Ryan, he gets beat like he stole something. So, Mr. Morrell, I definitely see your comment. Talk about Gerald McCoy, that he's playing well in Carolina and their defense is carrying them right now. Absolutely. That I definitely hear you on that. Next thing we're going to talk about these Houston Texans. Houston. I got to put them at elevated. I'm going to explain why before Mr. Morrell gets all upset. Let's go ahead and look as a breakdown why I put the Houston Texans as elevated and not high or severe. So, let's go up to the next one. So the breakdown of the Houston Texans. The offense was elevated, the coaching is elevated, and the defense is high. Special teams is low, so that's why overall this team is elevated, and I'll break this down. So the reason why I had to put him at elevated, because Deshaun Watson is honestly carrying this offense, and it's really sad because the problem is he has no running back. His offensive line is not, for the love of God, you've got to block for him. If you don't block for him, he's not going to be able to put points on that board. Now, these past couple of weeks, though, they finally showed up, and I'm going to explain why that has happened, because Laramie Tunsil was a very good pickup for the Houston Texans. If anything, that was probably the best pickup for the Houston Texans because of the fact that now Deshaun doesn't have to really worry about his blind side. He doesn't have to worry about it now, so now he's able to do the things that he can do. Now, Will Fuller, I don't know where he was last week. I don't know where Will Fuller was. I mean, Will Fuller was driving me nuts. And then I'm just like, oh my God, dude, like, how you have a 14-catch, 217-yard game, and then the very next week you dropping more passes than you dropping panties? Like, come on now. Like, that to me is just nuts. And it is what it is. Like, yo, come on, dude. Like, you gotta put some. I mean, do you need to call Jerry Rice and go get some stickum? Because if you need some stickum, I'm sure Jerry Rice will hook you up. So I'm just saying. So there's no reason for that. And then, of course, the tight ends for Houston are starting to show up now. So I like the way they're playing offensively. But it's just that I had to put them at elevated because of the fact that that offensive line has been getting Deshaun killed. Now, the thing about Deshaun, he's having the role. And now I will say that some of the sacks that Deshaun has been getting sacked by, some of them was caused by him because he was trying to extend the play. But it's kind of hard when you're kind of running for your life. And it's just like, ugh, come on. Now, defensively, I had to put high. At the time, they had Jadeveon Clowney. He's not there. But even still, my man Whitney Merciless, J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt's still playing at a high level. I love the way that guy playing. They only like triple teaming him like every play, though. It is what it is. Jonathan Joseph is still playing at a high level as well. So that's just what I see out of that. And what I like to see is, what I would like to see from this Houston Texans team, I'm pretty sure they can run the table in this division because I'm sorry, the Titans is trash. Okay? They're trash. Nobody's going to care about the Jags, who I'm about to probably talk about in a second. And the Colts might be their only competition. Let's go on to that next team, but that's what my breakdown of the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans is a pretty good football team. I like what I see from them. So let's go on to the next one. So the next team, right here, this is going to be interesting. Jaguars had to put guarded, and now let's go straight on to the next slide in the interest of time. So in the interest of time, I'm probably going to stop. I'm going to stop right after I break down the AFC South because next week we're going to talk about the NFC. This week, guarded, elevated, low, special teams is low, and then overall the total team is guarded. Now the reason why I had to put guarded for coaching because Doug Marrone, little do people realize, yes, he got them to the playoffs a couple of years ago. He got to the playoffs to a 10-6 team. I said to people, Doug Marrone is definitely a pretty good coach because I liked what he was doing with the Buffalo Bills. He did an amazing job before he left there. That team was on the verge of actually becoming a good football team until they changed ownership. Once they changed ownership, Doug Marrone decided to leave, and now he's with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay? Offensively, Gardner Minshew, it's not bad. He's not bad. But he has no receivers, And Leonard Fournette is not going to cut it. Leonard Fournette is not going to cut it. I'm just telling you that ahead of time. Okay? Now, it is what it is. They're going to have to figure that out. And then tight end-wise, tight ends is always pretty good. But Dede Westbrook is not going to be your number one. You need to go find another receiver ASAP because, I'm sorry, Jaguars receivers, they've been trash for years. And I mean, Justin Blackmon, we all wonder where that dude at. I don't even know where he at right now because last I heard from him, he out in some Florida nightclub somewhere. So that's the last time I heard from him. And then the defense got to put elevated. I mean, they had Jalen Ramsey and they let him go. But I like A.J. Bouye. A.J. Bouye is a really good corner. I love the way that boy plays. Barry Church is a very good safety. Then you add in my man Miles Jack, Telvin Smith. Okay? They got all these guys. The D-line, Calais Campbell, Yannick Ngakoue. They got some guys on that D-line, but the problem is that front seven's got to find a way to get to that quarterback. And if they don't find that way to get to the quarterback, the Jaguars are going to be in trouble for the rest of the year, and it's going to be really, really, really tough for them. So, let's go ahead and go on to the Colts, and then I'm going to end the show right here, because it's going to be a two-part show for as a threat level assessment, and then I'm going to come back next week, and we're going to talk about the NFC TLA, and I'm going to break it all the way down. Colts, I had to put them as low, and I'm going to explain why they're low, because even though, like Marcus Morrell said, they are sleepers, I know some of you guys have seen this comment, but I want you guys to understand why I put them there at this particular time, so I want everybody to look. The Colts right now, I don't really trust their offense, because like I said, even though they beat the Chiefs, and Jacoby Brissett, nobody would have thought this. Let's go ahead and look at this team. So right now, everybody was low because special teams wise, outside of Adam Vinatieri, what have they really done? Outside of the defense. Actually, no, not even the defense. The defense just happened to play well one game against the Chiefs. And honestly, they was playing a Chiefs team that, let's be real, they're banged up pretty bad. So, and on top of that, offensively, outside of T.Y. Hilton, whatever receivers they got, Jacoby Brissett is doing what he can with less. So T.Y. Hilton is pretty good, and like I said, they ain't got and then Andrew Luck left for the year, so I was just like, alright. So he gone. No Andrew Luck. Jacoby Brissett negotiates his own contract. He had a 2-year deal for $30 million. He negotiated his own contract, so now he's making $15 million per season. So I gotta give him his props for that. But 10 touchdown passes, only 3 interceptions. I have to give him his props because I did not expect him to do this. But coaching is going to be low because let's just be honest about it. What the heck is this dude? No. Let's stop it. But I'm going to say that to say this. The Texans, when they see the Colts, I'm pretty sure the Texans are going to beat them because I'm sorry. There's just too much firepower the Texans have. And then the way Deshaun plays, I'm like, oh my gosh. The only reason why I like this because you got a couple of African-American quarterbacks, in this division, and they both are playing at pretty high levels, and I love the way both of these guys are playing. The good thing is Marlon Mack. Marlon Mack, I think, is a very good running back, and they're able to run the football. I mean, it mind boggled me how when they beat the Chiefs 19-13, right? The defense was playing at a high level because little do people realize Justin Houston got cut by the Chiefs. He ended up in Indianapolis, and then what ended up happening is, with Justin Houston is that now this man was just getting to the quarterback, getting to him. But who his linebackers coach is, his linebackers / D-line coach, is actually Robert Mathis himself. Now, if anybody knows who Robert Mathis is, he went to Alabama A&M. That is a historically black college university. For any of you guys who are into HBCU sports, he is a linebacker D-line coach for them, and on top of it, he consults for them. So now he was able to help give some tips to the guys that's on that Colts defensive line, and that's why they were able to get to the quarterback the way they were getting to him, and then they were able to utilize him in a way that I was like, wow, I was impressed. But the Colts ran the ball over 50 times. in that game against the Chiefs. That was, they said that, and most analysts, we were looking at this like, that hasn't been done since the 1960s. That's because back then, all NFL teams did was run the football, run the ball. That was literally it. And it really just was like one of those situations you say to yourself, like, oh my gosh, like the Colts can actually win this game. And lo and behold, they did. Right now, they're sitting pretty at 3-2, so they're looking pretty good. And I was like, wow. So this football team is really impressive. It's very good what they're doing. But what's going to come down to is this. They will, when it comes to elite teams, we'll see how good the Colts do. But until then, we won't know yet, especially since they got to see the Texans. So that's gonna be tough. Is it tough to watch? All right, folks. So I am literally out of time. Like I can't believe that time flew by so fast, and I was just literally breaking down the AFC. So we're gonna actually cut it right here. Okay, I'm not gonna go on to any other slides because there's a lot more. So next week we're gonna talk about the TLA even further, and I'm going to break down the NFC next week. So I'm going to have a lot of different things to talk to you guys about because I had a lot of slides today. But today we're just going to stop right here. And first off, I want to thank everybody who tuned into the show this morning. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in this morning, especially since the fact that this is something new. It's my 100th episode, so I want to thank everybody who supported me. And I want to huge shout out to my team, especially my mom, Cheryl Owens, who really put all of this together and helped me really construct this. And it's been a really great journey. I want to thank everybody who really supported me and watching the show, especially huge shout out to Mr. Marcus Morrell and one of my other close friends, Jabari Emanuel. I want to really thank both of you guys for really tuning into the show week in and week out and supporting me. Thank you. So there's that. Also, my man Brandon Williams, who's in the back right now running my show. I want to thank you for his support, especially running my show every single morning and waking up at the crack of dawn to run this. It's an amazing show that I've been doing for these past couple of years. Also, what I want you guys to do, go to my social media. My social media is insane_Shane29, underground SB29 for Twitter. And then go to my Instagram, shiz_29. I'm going to post some updates. You're going to also look at some articles as well on my No BS, No Holds Barred Sports Talk, blogspot.com. And then also, I want everybody to go to the YouTube page, look at past shows. I'm going to be uploading a lot of shows, so that way everybody can see what's been going on in the past. And then also, what I want people to go to is the Facebook viewer group, No BS, No Holds Barred Sports Talk viewer group. I want you guys to subscribe to the page. I post updates. If there's any trade updates, trade rumors, I'm going to put it out there so that way all of you could know firsthand, and you're going to hear it from me and my team, the things that we do here at WBGR Sports, and also a No BS, No Holds Barred Sports Talk show. If anybody wants to advertise with the show or advertise with WBGR Sports, through the show, go to undergroundsportslc@gmail.com. Email me there, and I will most certainly respond to you guys. So I'm not going to say see you later, guys, or say peace. It is to be continued. See you guys next week. Threat level assessment. No BS, No Holds Barred Sports Talk show. I am out of the building. See you next week. To be continued.